work from home, your home can be anywhere, right? Well, that certainly was the case for Sammy, who had been a writer for most of her adult life. And when she realised that life doesn't have to be lived in one place, she headed out with her family for a trip of a lifetime. Hey Sammy, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you look like you're somewhere near a beach. Where are you right now?
We're at Lake, I can't pronounce it. It's near Southern Cross in Western Australia.
Oh, perfect. Nice. So I really wanted to chat to you today about sort of your business and what you're doing on the road. I know you said to me before we started, this isn't a business, but you know, if you're making money from it, then we could consider it a business. Yeah. So let's just dive. Like, what does life look like for you guys right now?
So I mean, it gets hectic because I've got 4 kids, but I'm a writer, so I've been a writer for 15 years. Ghost writing is what I used to do, and basically that was writing for other people, and I would write short stories. They would ask me to write for them, and that's just basically writing their words, and they put their name to it, and I'd get paid for it. And I still pick up those jobs now. But I've written Big Family Travels, which I've put up for pre-release on Kindle, which should be released in October. So that in itself is a full-time job. It's big for me because I've released, a long time ago fiction, and fiction is my passion, and I still write fiction now. But yeah, that's what I do. I write and I teach fiction. And I do that every Sunday to a grade 9 California student. And I try not to take on a lot because of the 4 kids. I've got a 4-year-old wild child. And she's so much work in it, with herself. So, I try not to take on too much. But, when people ask me, I do take on here and there other students, but it'll only be, a lesson here, a lesson there, rather than, Matthew's 10 lessons, 10 weeks every 10 weeks, every Sunday. So that's, I try not to write more than I can chew.
I always find it funny when entrepreneurial people say things like, oh, I just pick it up and I just pick that up and I just get work here and there. But for a lot of people listening to this, they'll think, well, how the hell? Like, where? Like, what do you do to pick up these jobs?
So I advertise first on something called Fiverr, and it's when you're in the writing community. So everyone knows in the traveling community, you have traveling pages, right? So you go in there and you go into the forums and you're talking to people, and you have the camping caravan pages, and we all know that they're there. Things don't just fall in your lap, okay? People think, oh yeah, I'm just going to go out here and I'm just going to sit here all the time and I'm just going to wait until something falls in my lap. That doesn't happen. And you've got to stop thinking that that's going to happen. If you want a job, or if you want work, or if you want money on the road, you have to make it happen. Like I see this all the time as well. And it's sad because people are like, oh, I really want to travel this beautiful country and I really want to make money while I'm doing it. You still have to get off your bum and you have to make the money side of it work for you. That's what I do. From my laptop, I'm cluey enough with the technical side of it, with my writing side of it, because I put 15 years of work in the writing side of it first. So it hasn't all been great in the writing side of it. I went to uni, I got my bachelor degree in Bachelor of Arts, and I've put the work in. So I go through, I was a part of writing, all these writing forums, and Fiverr.com, it's not the best place to get work, and it's certainly not the best place. Like if you're a writer traveling Australia and you're thinking, oh great, I'll go there right now, probably don't. It isn't the best place to get work. Matthew's mum, she sort of just fell into my lap. That is the best place the best sort of thing to describe it, because she was just the right place at the right time. COVID was happening over there. It's was really bad. Matthew's just starting to go back to school Monday. Wow. So they've been out of school months and months. So when Matthew's mum contacted me, she was looking for things to stimulate her son. And she's a literature buff, a fiction buff herself. She contacted me and said, hey, look, can you do this for my son? And it just so happened I was like, yeah, I'm not a scammer. I'm not going to scam you. You know what I mean? Like Fiverr or Fiverr is one of those places where it's, you know, you're going to get what you pay for. I don't put my stuff on there for $5. I put my stuff on there for what I am actually worth, and I charge that. So I don't get a lot of work from there. And she just so happened to come along and say, I'm going to pay you what you're worth. So she does.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And sorry to cut you off. I was just going to say, I think that's the classic thing about putting yourself out there. You know, you just said that you've got to go for it. You've got to, you know, things don't just fall in your lap. And I know you said that Matthew's mum fell in your lap, but not really. You've had so much experience. You put yourself out there in the right places to actually get that work. So before you actually started traveling, what was life like? Were you a work from home type entrepreneur? Were you, you know, out in the corporate world? What did it look like?
It was mostly, I was stay-at-home mum, and I was uni, and I would try and juggle a lot and ghostwriting. So when Lee, husband, he worked on the roads, and it was 14-hour days for him. And it was all the time him coming home. It was just hard for him, like body breakdown, bad back, bad knees. I mean, he's got, you know, bad knees now still, and it's just sick of it, really, just going out and just putting yourself through that day after day. And then, I was just trying to be something.
Yep.
Trying to, I love being mum, and I've got two teenagers. I've got an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old, but I've had dreams. I'm a dreamer. I'm a creative person, and I still know that I have more to give. I'm not happy being just, and I won't say this because I know that people are going to take this the wrong way. Not my intention, because being a mum is the best thing in the world, and you are putting out there the best thing that you could ever do as a person. But I know that there's more for me as well. And that's just because I'm a creative person. I've got a creative mind, and it's just I've got a fast-paced mind too. So, that's probably why I've got a wild child.
I've got one of those too. I can resonate. So at what point did you think, okay, what I'm doing now is good enough for us to sort of go on the road and, you know, generate an income whilst we're doing that?
We had it was really one of those moments where it was no choice. So for us, you know, you hear stories where people are packing up their houses and selling up and stuff like that. We've been renters for, you know, all our renting lives. COVID was happening. We'd invested thousands into an antique business that was starting up for us. And because COVID come and just devastated so many of us, we were never going to survive that. So that ended. And I'm not a negative person by nature. Things get me down, but I always have to look for positive things. My parents travelled Australia for like 5 years. So I said, we can't do this. I can't keep on. And we were the rental market. So we didn't see it then at the time on the Sunshine Coast. that it was the beginning of a rental crisis. But our rental history was perfect. But we were putting in application after application. I think it was like 70 to 80 applications, and we were getting knocked back. And I'm like, we're middle income earners. What's going on? So after I was getting rejected, and then we decided, okay, if we can't get the Sunny Coast, we'll go down to Gympie. We're still getting rejected. And then we had like it was like an Austrac or something camper trailer at the time. And it was a good, slept 6, had the kitchen outside and what have you. And thank God we did have it. But I said to him, like, we had to end up packing up the house even then, putting it all in storage and asking a friend if we can set up in his backyard until we found a house. So it was that moment that I was like, we're homeless right now. We've got nowhere to go. And I'm like, I'm not doing this.
What a surreal situation to be in.
It was that moment where I didn't think this would ever happen to us. So when I see it now, and I'm reading people's stories now on the Sunshine Coast, and they're having that moment themselves, it breaks my heart, because I'm like, yep, I've been there. I know that. But I said to him, I'm not going through this. And we were having, like, it trickled into, it trickled down into like relationship problems.
Yeah.
Of course, because, how can you not go through all that without it affecting your whole family dynamic? So, yeah, it turned out okay, because this is how it happened. Like I said, I don't, when one door closes for me, I make other doors. That's just my personality. So,
do you think that's how you have to be if you want to do a big lap and you want to earn income from the road? You have to see the opportunities wherever they sort of come up.
Absolutely. If you don't have that personality where it's not about just sitting back and thinking, I've just got to let the dominoes fall where they may. It's about, you've got to make those dominoes fall where they've got to, you've got to make them happen. It's not, if you have an idea in mind, you've got to make those ideas fall where they, where it's going to fall. If you want to walk in a position, if you're going to do a big lap like this and think, okay, I'm just going to get on my computer and I'm going to make money. No. If you're going to do a big lap and think, okay, I'm going to go into the community and find jobs, I'm going to go into the caravan park and ask if I can find a job. If I'm going to go and see if they need pickers, I'm going to go, and then you've got the right mindset. You need to have the mindset that I am going to go everywhere and find a job in that community. If you are thinking, okay, I'm going to be a full-time traveler, this is my lifestyle now, then you've got to make that mindset work for you in terms of, I'm going to stay around this area for 3 months and then I'm going to work this area. That's how you're going to change your whole life and make Australia your backyard. If you think, okay, I'm just going to try this and, have a holiday for 6 months, then that's okay. It's all about what you expect out of traveling. And I do believe that it's all about who you are as a person. Traveling's not for everyone. It's not going to be for everybody. Yeah. I do believe that there's only a certain amount of people that are going to actually go into this and be like, this is awesome. And some people that are going to go into this and go, what the hell did I sign up for?
Yeah.
It really is. And it's going to be the two people that'll be like, okay, the grass is greener on the other side mentality. Because I'm sitting here in Western Australia and the dirt is red, the flies are thick. And I get out there and I do my toilet and dump point for 6 people.
Oh God.
You know what I mean? And it's like, this is what we've been doing for 14 months.
Yeah.
But I'm also a country girl from the country. I've never been shy of getting my hands dirty, doing all that sort of stuff. And you've got to understand that this is not just a coastal thing, it's a regional thing as well. And if you're going to do a whole lap of Australia, you've got to understand that there is coastal, regional, the whole thing. This isn't just sticking to one coast, staying to the safe parts of what you're doing. Mm-hmm. There is a whole Australia, and there is a lot of different, there's a lot of different personalities to that. And I know that you get on Instagram and you see like these Insta videos of perfect days after day and springs and, all these things that you get to do that are adventures. That's not what it is all the time. It's, especially if you got kids, it's tantrums and boring days and work and mm-hmm. school and, having fights with teenagers because they got to go to school.
So I'm interested to learn sort of how you manage all that, because as someone who works for myself and has worked from the road and all those kinds of things, I'm always in this weird sort of balance of, I've got too much work to do that, or I've got too much traveling to do work. So how do you find that happy balance?
Well, I do. It's hard, but it's not as hard because the kids only do a few hours a day. Mm-hmm. And then in terms of school, and then if we're doing traveling and if we're doing days where it's about like what we're doing, like the adventure side of things, if we've got some things to do or to see, that is school. Mm-hmm. Because, we just were at Hollerton Historical Ghost Town. There wasn't much there. It was mostly about the bush, but it did have history. Mm-hmm. And it, 1925 to 1940 something, and it was about the gold mines, and there were mines, and it was really scary, but it was really educational. They learned that. That was about the learning of what, and that was good. They could go back and they saw it, they experienced it, then they could get back on their computers and go, okay, so what else can we learn about it? Mm-hmm. So that's us. I can work now. They can go to school. So I can get, writing done. And, yeah, it's all about the fact that I don't put too much stress on. And I'm not saying that it wasn't like that. When we first started traveling, stress was off the charts mm-hmm. in trying to find any sort of balance, especially when they were enrolled in distance education, because they weren't always homeschooled. When they were at distance education, that was so stressful because they all had teachers and they had to sit there in front of the computer, and they had heaps of work and projects and assignments and, the expectation of having deadlines, and I had deadlines and it was just too much. Had to give.
Yeah, you do hear a lot of parents who, especially people who sort of work on the road or have an expectation of traveling that is sort of more on the let's explore every day type vibe, that they can't do the distance education because it's just too structured. But then on the flip side of it, you get the people who also think distance education is amazing because they don't have to, do the lesson planning and all those kinds of things. So it's a really...
I think it depends what state you're in. So for NEPSOD in New South Wales, it isn't as strict. But for Queensland, Charters Towers, those sorts of places where you have to be online with your teacher all the time and show up to class every day, that's a little bit different. There was more of a strict expectation, and the assignments that even she's grade 3, the expectation of assignments were one after another. Mm-hmm. And she was getting frustrated. And then it was more just like we were staying longer at places so that we could fit in places that we wanted to go see or places that they wanted to go and see, or we'd have to leave and then we'd miss out on places that we wanted to see. So it was more like, okay, we're doing this for a reason. It's supposed to be less stress, not more stress. And then I started to sort of do some research on homeschooling, and I thought the whole thing about homeschooling is that they're taking away a quality of learning through the actual travel itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and absolutely.
I relax more, because I think I was so tightly wound at the thought that they were going to lose education value by the stuff that they weren't getting through this strict idea of traditional schooling. And I just had to keep on telling myself, why are we so hell-bent on this idea of traditional schooling? Because we're told this, we learned it as adults or as this generation, but why? And I had to keep on learning myself. And I think it's just, we've got to just get off the whole idea that traditional is always best. Why is it always best? So now I'm less stressed. I've gotten off that whole idea that tradition is best. And probably because we've been also learning more about the whole, I think maths was a big thing for me as well. It was the whole idea that they were losing a maths, sort of a whole maths curriculum. But we teach the maths in a different way now, and it's just set my mind a lot better, a lot more.
I think what you're saying there about the whole mindset shift is so interesting, because I think it can be applied to even what you're doing for work, right? We're sort of brought up to go to school, go to uni, get a job, work 9 to 5. And there's such a big wide world of opportunity out there that, a lot of times people will speak to me and say, oh, I wish I could do this for a job, but there's no jobs in that, or I wish I could do that. I'm like, you can always make that into something that can generate you money. So I do just want to bring things back to your business. I know I keep calling it a business, but what does it look like on a day-to-day basis for you? And are you basically earning enough money for the whole family to travel?
Yeah, it's not traditional week-to-week money. It's more like, if I can get enough built up over time, then it's like a lump sum. And then it's more like, because we have, and I'll talk about generating different income streams. And you're probably, it's more like, I don't know if you've heard this before, but it's having multiple income streams.
100%.
And that's the key to traveling. Well, that's just the key to having an easier lifestyle. So, and I don't want people to go off and be like, okay, now I've got to go and invest in this, and this, and whatever else, because it's taken us a lot to get to what we're doing. But we invest.
What do you invest in?
Crypto.
Okay.
It's volatile. It's especially lately.
Yeah, tell me about it.
But it's also like a job itself, and it's not something that we do lightly, and it's something that I'll probably one day decide to help other people in, but it's volatile, and it's definitely taken a long time to learn, but it's a stream of income that definitely comes in a lot better for us than a lot of things. Writing is something that comes in sort of dribs and drabs.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping it's something that will explode for me one day, but it's not a get rich. Nothing that we do is get rich quick. And I will also tell people nothing that you will do on the road will get you rich
Mm-hmm.
ever. So if you're going online trying to find a way to generate something that's going to get you rich quick, you're wasting your time. If you want to find something to be a job or find something to put your time into, find time in generating multiple streams of income, and make that your job. If you have time for anything, it's doing that. That's my advice. That's my biggest advice.
And I think that's great advice of talking about looking at it as a job, because so many people want to start a business, want to do this, want to do that, but they never sort of get the traction on it. But a lot of the times it's because they don't see it as a job, and they'd rather spend 10 hours working for $25 an hour or whatever than putting that effort into the business. And, you know, and I completely get it in terms of, okay, well, I'm going to get $250 this week instead of nothing. But you've really got to think about how putting that extra effort in is going to help you in the grand scheme of things, right?
And look, there are so many things on the internet that's going to catch your eye, especially in the investment things, and it's going to suck you in. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be like, maybe I should do it. Especially when you see, oh, it's only 99 cents, or it's only, invest for 7 days and you're going to, be amazed, or whatever it's going to tell you. But my dad used to tell me something, and it's, good old dad and mum and dad's advice. But he used to tell me something that's followed me through my entire life, and it's it stayed with me till I'm 36 next week. So, and it's gotten me through a lot of things that, that's kept me alive anyway. And all the oldies will probably know it. If it sounds too good to be true, it is.
100%.
It is.
I see so many, especially it's kind of infiltrated the travel market and sort of the traveling community and it's something that I don't like to get on my high horse about, but it's something that is sucking so many people in. And I feel like it's a pandemic in itself is, get online and start showing your amazing lifestyle and telling other people that you're having this amazing lifestyle, when actually you're not living that lifestyle yet. You're trying to suck other people in to show their amazing lifestyle. And, I don't want to, I was going to use a word that I shouldn't use for that, but you know what I'm talking about. I think your dad's advice is perfect for that. If their life looks too good to be true, it probably is.
Look, traveling is not this amazing lifestyle. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is great for some people. And before we got here, we had mechanical failures again. We had to be in a house for 7 days, thanks to RACQ insurance. But I paced it. I couldn't do it. And even when I was working, I was doing chapter 1 and 2 of my book, and I couldn't get past it. I was editing. I'm at editing stages, and I was like, oh, I can't. I was trying to concentrate, and I was like a caged tiger because I was so, and I don't even know what it really was, because it was like sometimes we can be in the caravan and be bored because I'm like looking around for things to do at that particular time. Because it's, sometimes we've got school and work, and it's like, we shouldn't leave today, we should leave tomorrow, or we should leave in a couple of days because we've got laundry, and there's, you're close to water and you're close to the dump point, you're close to a laundry, so it doesn't make sense to leave until, the next day, or there's a storm coming, or whatever it is keeping you in that place for a couple of days, you have to stay put for a couple of days, right? So, or maybe it is that you've run out of money and you're at the free camp and you need to wait until you get paid again. Whatever it is keeping you put, you've got to stay. So, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And traveling, sometimes you'll watch these shows and they look great because they're put together for 40 minutes and it's all the highlights and you're sitting there going, oh, that looks awesome. Yeah, I want to do that. And yeah, I'm not trying to put people off traveling because we do love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. There are zero regrets. We've been on the road for 14 months. And when I know that we will have to stop one day, I know that we'll have to settle the kids down one day. I know we'll have to look at the map and go, okay, where are we going to settle down?
Mm-hmm.
I know that. And it gives me heart palpitations because I don't want to stop. Because in terms of career, like in terms of my writing, in terms of work, this is the best work I've ever done.
Mm.
This is in 2 months I'll be published.
Wow.
And
so let's talk about your book. Tell us what is it about?
Big Family Travels.
Awesome.
As a writer, I couldn't travel this country and not churn out a book.
Absolutely. So is it about your travels? Is it fiction? What is it?
No, it's non-fiction. It's about our travels. It's about everything that I've just said. Mm-hmm. It's the reality of travels. It's about what you're going to come across. It's about, insurance, advice. It's about, free camps. It's, we free camp 97% of the time. And it's not just because of the caravan park prices, although it's a lot to do with the caravan park. It's also because we have a wild child and she gets in everyone's faces and the caravan parks pack you in like sardines. Yeah. And we're not those sort of people. We like our peace and quiet and privacy. And it's also because if we were to pay the caravan park prices, we can't splash the money around the community.
Yeah.
And I don't like the fact that we have to put money into one place. If we're close to a community, like when I'm talking free camps as well, I'm talking like 20 kilometers out of town to free camps where you can sort of spread out. Mm-hmm. You've got that, peace and quiet. We drive 20 kilometers into a place and we're there, groceries, fuel, takeaway, all the rest. So mm-hmm. we're usually at a free camp for 3, 4, 5 days. And we're in that town back and forth. So, yeah.
Awesome. So where will your book be available? You said it's going to be out in October, you said?
Yeah.
Yep.
October. It'll be available Kindle, Barnes & Noble, all the digital platforms. It's being published by Four Huts Publishing, which is my publishing company.
That's super exciting.
Yeah. So... which awesome. I probably should have talked about too. But
yeah, let's talk about that. You've got a publishing company. Just pull that out of the bag. This is another revenue stream, isn't it?
Well, it's only really new. So mm-hmm. it is really new. I've got one author, AJ Moss, who's also she's not in pre-release yet. We've got her title up on the publishing platform, but we're still in talks about when our manuscript will be in pre-release. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's all very early days. The publishing company's in early days. Everything's in early days. It's all very, it's hard with a publishing company. It's hard with all of it in COVID. Mm-hmm. And it's scary because I've gone down the business route before and it fell flat because of COVID. And so because it's all digital, I'm like crossing my fingers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but yeah, it's just really exciting, scary.
Absolutely. If you're not excited and scared 90% of the time, what are you really doing life? Yeah. So let's just talk about the tools you use on the road. What sort of programs do you use to sort of run your business? Is there any specific programs and, software systems?
Yeah. So I have a Mac. Mm-hmm. I have about 6 tablets. No, the kids have their own tablets, but I have a Samsung 6 tablet and a Mac, mostly for me and for work. And those are my babies. The kids aren't allowed to touch them. and that has everything. That does everything. I use Canva for editing purposes, for any sort of photo, like for any sort of not manuscript, book cover editing, anything like that. I do most of my own sort of book covers and processes. I have an editor in Arizona and authors in Arizona who help with any sort of if I need help with any sort of, can you have a look at this sort of stuff. They're also my closest friends and have been my closest friends for years. That I met all of them girls in the writing communities years and years ago. And yeah, so but Canva would be my favorite. Photoshop and Pexel.com, Unsplash. I get a lot of the copyright-free images that I use there. I make sure I always use copy-free images. If I need anything really, really spectacular in terms of photography, I'll go to like stock and pay for them. Really important to pay for your photos, really important to use copyright-free.
100%.
Or anything in terms of copyright. If you think you're not going to get caught, you will.
Yep. Exactly.
Or otherwise, get it. If you've got a really good camera, take your own.
100%. And
it's really, really easy to manipulate your photos these days for Photoshop. And I've taken some really, really lovely backdrops and manipulated it. It's really easy. So Photoshop.
And with Australia as your backdrop, you can't really go wrong, can you? So, Sammy, we're going to wrap up there. But what I wanted to ask you is, I mean, you've given quite a lot of advice in this episode, which is awesome. But what's the one piece of advice you would give to anybody looking to travel and make money from the road?
Don't close yourself off. Open up to everything. Like I said, multiple income streams, but that means getting out there, putting yourself out there, go out to the community. We've worked in a caravan park. It's not just about sitting in front of your computer. You know what I mean? Like, it's go out there, see what's available. We aren't, we don't have an aversion to getting out there and picking fruit if we need to, or, it's all about helping communities too. If they need people, go and see what they've got available, because I can tell you now, there's a lot of people in Australia that need help.
So, do you have a skill like Sammy's that you can take on the road? If COVID has taught us anything, it's that most of us can be remote and still effectively do our jobs. So even if you're not the type who wants to start a business, there may still be a way you can use your current skills to fund your big lap. Comment below with what you do for a job so we can tell you how you can take that on the road. And as always, like, comment and subscribe.